Thank you. All right, this is going to be an interesting one, okay? How many people have an Alexa or a Google Home? All right, then you'll be interested in this fight. This fight is about what's going on with voice in the world of marketing, control, etc., which is a very new and clearly undecided area right now, okay? So I'm going to introduce our two fighters, all right? Our first fighter spent time running digital for GameStop, then moved on to rap, and then founded her own shop called Tandem Theory. Please give a warm welcome to Michelle Hagen. Grab your mic.
Where's my mic?
It's right there. I don't know what happened to her awesome music. I'm so sorry about that. It's just so much better like when the relief pitcher walks in and the music plays, but sometimes it doesn't. I'm so sorry. You can still win. All right. She's going to be fighting a gentleman named Chris Ferrel, who runs digital strategy for Richards, focusing on such brands as Snapple, Sub-Zero, Wolf, and others. So please give a warm welcome for Chris Ferrel. Just for fun, Damani, can we play her music just so she's not slighted? I think it was Big Papa or something like that. I don't know. Box fade. Nope, it's all good. Do not let that handicap her chances, okay? All right. So, have you decided who's going to go first? All right, Chris is going to go first. You have 45 seconds.
All right. Raise your hand if you have ever uttered the phrase, "Hey Google, hey Alexa, or hey Siri" into a device. Yeah, you're not alone. It's predicted more than half of the US population will have a digital voice assistant device this time next year. Why? Well, because voice is arguably the easiest, most accessible interface we have ever seen in digital. Think about it. There's virtually no learning curve. Voice is the first thing we have developed an understanding for when we're in the womb before we're born. So it should be no surprise that 30% of all web browsing sessions will be screenless in just 2 short years. Or as Joy Howard puts it, the screens of the future will increasingly be speakers.
Nicely done. Michelle.
So I'm not here to dispute the power of voice, and ironically, I lost my voice yesterday. Try ordering something with Alexa when you have laryngitis. I couldn't have planned that better. But what I want to point out, what scares me the most is that advertisers are excited about voice. And so if you really think about it, if you're voice searching, if you're giving commands, do you really want an advertiser getting in the way of what you're trying to accomplish? I think not. That's probably the most criminal action that could possibly happen in the voice space. So not disputing that commands don't have a role. I love telling my lights to dim and please play relaxing music when I go to bed. Not disputing that. But marketing, marketers, practice good SEO. Like it's organic.
And time. Well played. Chris, your rebuttal.
In advertising, we're just fast followers. We're just going where the trend's headed. Alexa, and specifically Echo Dot, was the #1 most gifted device this past holiday season. It'll be predicted to be that this next holiday season. We'll follow that trend. In fact, voice is outpacing smartphone adoption. So we'll just keep following that wherever it takes us.
Okay, you only took 20 seconds, so I'm going to give her those 10 seconds. You get 40 for your rebuttal.
So I will continue. But good marketers already know it's about the experience already. So when I hear about voice being the next big thing, we think about it's just another touch point. It's just another touch point in a sea of 20 to 25 to 35 other ones. So it's not the next big thing when it really boils down to it. It's just another customer touch point. And you have to be sensitive to what they want in that moment and in that moment of time. So I think for most marketers, if we're talking about marketing and the role that voice plays, just do your jobs. Customer experience, organic search, and just keep moving in that direction. And
And
voice will just
time.
naturally,
Sorry.
it's all right.
It works better that way. All righty. I'm a tough guy. Grant, you have the first question.
The change in voice to make it the big change that has kind of hit this recent generation, or what feature, if it doesn't change, is going to make it obsolete?
Chris, I'm going to let you go first.
Yeah, so I've actually had some good conversation with professors in linguistics, and they say that today the ability for Alexa to understand you needs to change for lots of populations. So as a white monolingual English speaker, it's very accurate for me, but it's not very accurate for other populations. So for example, if you have a Hispanic or Latino audiences in mind, it has a very difficult time understanding Chicano English accents. So that will need to change absolutely for it to be adopted at a bigger space.
And time. Michelle.
So shockingly, I'm going to agree with Chris on that one, but I will add that I think what will keep pace with personal assistant, so you've got voice commands, Internet of Things, perfect intersection. But as soon as you want your personal assistant to start thinking, it's got to keep pace with AI. And I'm sorry, but AI still has a ways to go. We're all excited about it. But your personal assistant better be thinking, not too proactively, but just proactively enough, and not be a racist.
Okay, and time. Didn't see that one coming.
I have a question. As a father to 3 children and an Alexa, beyond the fact that my children sometimes call me Alexa by mistake, I actually think that voice-driven devices stand in a way more important path, which is the path of education, because from when children are really young, they now learn to interact with those devices, and that scares the shit out of me. Because when you think about marketing to a 2-year-old, starting with the goo goo gaga and trying to understand what that means later on. Now, goo goo gaga is a little bit earlier than 2 years. It's not. And anyway, if you had a magic wand and you were able to fully control the product roadmap of the Alexas and Google Homes, what would you do to guarantee a moral future? Because clearly this is happening. It could be used for good. It could be used for evil. When advertising gets involved, sometimes there's a little bit of, I'm not going to continue that line. I think I made myself clear. How would you dictate the balance of morality into this revolution that's coming on?
Michelle, I'm going to let you go first with that one.
I was chomping at the bit for that one. So I do believe that paid advertising in the role of voice-activated search is evil. So I think that what happens is if you don't want to create bias, you have to create objectivity. So we already have algorithms running that are learning and optimizing for organic. We can search for free. If we're paying for a device, you don't want to hear a paid ad. And you certainly don't want to hear the first result out of Alexa's mouth being from a paid brand. You want to hear objective, unbiased results. So I think the one thing I would change, no paid on
And
voice.
time. Chris.
So I'm optimistic. I think voice can help us do things like regain the art of conversation. But for that to happen, we have to have a product roadmap in mind that acknowledges that. Voice has power beyond any screen that we've experienced before. We have to understand that the accents that we choose in that product roadmap, if it's a British accent or a Southern accent, it's saying a backstory about our brand or about the product that we put out there. The speed in which we speak, is it fast-paced, is it slow-paced? So I think from a product roadmap standpoint, we have to acknowledge that even if we're talking to a computer, we put a backstory there, whether if one existed or not. So that needs to be a consideration for any good to happen from the voice experience
And
that we put
time.
out there.
Excellent. We are done. Jeevan, open up the voting, please. Nicely done, guys. They will show right up on the screen. Michelle Hagen.
This big pimpin', baby.